Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at the entire run of Max Huffman's little zine series called Hypermutt. I'm a really big fan of Max Huffman's cartooning. It's very abstract, really pushes and exaggerates forms for the sake of composition and like beautiful shapes, and is something that's like kind of a way of thinking that's influencing me a lot right now. So I was really happy because I've had a couple of these. I was really happy to get a whole run of them. Now that Max is done with it, he's releasing like a little collection where you can get it, and it all comes in a little package here to contain it, and you can get the whole series all in one. So really excited to have this and read it all the way through because the story is pretty strange, and getting it in pieces and not being able to read it all back to back, I was a little bit lost, but now I can follow along and I love it. So we just go through, and I'll try to do my best to explain it without giving too much away, but I'm going to cover the whole series now that it's done, and encourage everyone to go get themselves a copy. So it focuses at first on the main character, Vernon, and he's going after a woman called Caressa. Vernon seems to be kind of a schlub, and Caressa has a little bit more going on for herself. Also, just a funny moment over here where this guy is eating ass and he says, "Damn girl, your ass tastes just like a Black Forest ham." I thought that was funny. But you see that what Caressa does is she's a promotional guru for a genetics company, and that they're like releasing these strange products. Like here you have Boar's Head and Monsanto has come together to collaborate on this thing that like make your ass taste good when it's being eaten, I guess. So that's her job, and she's making a lot of money. One of the products that's being made here is the Hypermutt. So Caressa says, "I want you to imagine a dog whose genetic makeup contains so many different breeds of dog that they fold in on themselves. It becomes more than a dog. It becomes all dog. It becomes the idea of dog." And then you see the image of the Hypermutt on the back. And it's a really great excuse for Max Huffman to lean into the modernist aspects of his style. Obviously, a lot of the exaggeration and stylistic choices that he's making in his abstraction and his cartooning is coming from different modernist movements. So this is almost like Cubist dog, Platonic Cubist dog, and I really enjoy that image and really enjoy how he's utilizing these influences. The second issue really doesn't have, these are short, they're like 8 pages a piece. So this is ending here with someone saying, with Caressa saying that they took her baby. They took her hyperdog away from her. You can see some really awesome cartooning here as well, just the distortions of the face. This reminds me quite a bit of what Banu Pratap is doing as well. I think Banu is more leaned into the body horror and things like that, but I feel like Max Huffman and Banu Pratap are kind of treading similar ground in terms of the way they're applying like heavy exaggeration and abstraction to their cartooning. So you see now that the vignette company that Caressa works for is taking a lot of protest from people that are, not happy with their genetic experiments. Another thing, as you can see as I flip through each one of these, you can see that it's printed on different paper. So like each one has its own flavor, I guess, in terms of like how it presents with the story. You see here now we have Vernon's mother showing up. Vernon has been working on trying to be a career politician, inside trader, and so he's getting in trouble for that. A councilman in Florida, Councilman Berg, is coming in to the picture. So you're following these characters as they get older. You can see Hypermutt saves Vernon here. Another cool thing that Max Huffman does is a lot of the early issues will start with some kind of effed up, and they'll leave on like this pause. And then you'll see that even though the series is called Hypermutt, on the first 3 issues, that's actually a continuation of those monsters took my Hypermutt. And then here, like the mother says, where's my little disruptor? And even though this is Hypermutt 4, like the title of it is Disruptor. So it stitches together through a lot of different stuff. You can see here some kind of effed up, and this is called Dog Tangle. And so this is some kind of effed up dog tangle. Huffman switches styles in this episode to take on a more like old woodblock cut look to tell some of the history of the idea of the hyperdog here. Really funny, cute little drawings of this pug with the buggy eyes and his little butt wandering throughout. So some fun style play even within the already abstract style of the story, kind of taking on these different historical voices. Just wanted to highlight like this drawing here specifically of Caressa. I just love, that's the kind of cartooning that I'm loving so much, and this character back behind. But you can see all throughout the shape play, especially, and the way that the blacks are spotted and all of that is really, really cool. This issue is more dreamlike. It's Vernon having a dream. He's also had his nose cut off at this point in the story, so he's got this fake nose plugged in. This is just another example of the type of awesome, really modernist type of compositions. The way that Huffman is using shapes within his composition feels very modernist to me. So this one's a bit of like a dream sequence and allows him to play with the more open page compositions, which is really cool. Here's another really awesome, just like modernist abstraction almost. It looks almost like a Kazimir Malevich like suprematist painting, but really all of those crazy angles and shapes are piling up to make this this thing that's going to lift the person up into the air. They're lifting this girl up into the air to retrieve the Vernon from inside of the Hypermutt. And you get this really, really awesome sequence here of this girl going up, and she's pressing her face into the mass of the Hypermutt here. And then on this side, it's like coming through the other side. Love that little bit of animation and abstraction that's showing like a really interesting effect through really simple means. And then you come in and you see again this like cubist platonic dog as this girl pushes up further and further into the mass to grab Vernon. Just excellent storytelling and cartooning within a style that should almost be like hard to follow along because it pushes abstraction so far, but Huffman stays right on the border of being completely readable, which is another impressive feat, I think. And without giving away the ending, I'll just show you some of like the cartooning here in the end, some other compositions and images that I really like. This guy being licked, this building here. The buildings are awesome all throughout. There's a very Jetsons vibe to a lot of the design in here. I think is, you know, maybe another big influence, that mod idea of the future that's now a retro thing. And then just again, really awesome compositions here. So a strange story throughout, this weird story about people moving through like corporate pharmaceutical companies and their experimentation to make like a conceptual animal. But you also follow, you know, this couple that's going through this and how their family interacts with it and everything. So it's a strange story, but with Huffman's art, it's absolutely fascinating. And I love it. I can't wait to see what Huffman does next. I've seen some of his work in anthologies in color, and I really hope that's next up because this style works so well with colors. And I just look forward to seeing whatever Max Huffman does next. Plaza by Yokoyama Yuichi. This is translated by Ryan Holmberg and is very large for a manga, so that's a really cool feature of this book, this standard manga size. And this is just a 200 some odd page representation of what Yokoyama Yuichi thinks of the Carnival Parade. And he's just made this like relentlessly loud and rhythmic book that pushes all kinds of amazing boundaries of what comics and manga are. And we could not recommend this book more.